itself is once again under unbelievable pressure because of the reassertion of the very thing that the EU since Maastricht has sought to overcome, which is the nation state. And during the current crisis, as with the migration crisis of 2015, which I wrote about in The Strange Death of Europe, we see this thing in which a political construct, whatever one thinks of it, a political construct of the EU is tested and indeed shown to be an ideological project whose practical boundaries are at least questionable by the fact that in the face of a crisis in 2015 and now in 2020, the nation states reassert themselves, even in the face of the insistence that they wouldn't do so. You know, it was not the EU that closed its borders. It was the announcement that Germany had closed its borders, that France had closed its borders, that Italy and Hungary and country after country closed their borders. It was in each case done as a unilateral action. And as everywhere in the world, you know, having talked about, thought about, traveled throughout the whole issue of borders for some years, it's if you'd said to me a couple of years ago, what are the circumstances in which Justin Trudeau announces that, you know, foreigners will not be allowed to Canada from tomorrow? You know, I can't see how that happens. And lo and behold, it does. But there are very interesting things in this that, again, go back to this thing of, you know, my fear of any kind of prediction. But it is interesting that when societies are tested, they find where their natural points of resilience are and where its natural feeling of unity lies. This goes back to something you mentioned, Roger Scruton, earlier. This goes back to something that Scruton wrote about a lot, which was what is the widest, most legitimate form of the first person plural, of what is the best form of we. What do we mean when we say we? We is who, and we, the nation state, has historically been, we all know it's not it's by no means a fail-safe. It's by no means it's not exactly as if it's not something that can go wrong. You know, anyone who knows history knows how the nation state can go wrong. It's not as if it's the perfect answer to everything, but it is and will continue to be, and perhaps now will be reasserted as being, the widest way in which you can talk of we with legitimate feeling of ownership to things you yourself may not necessarily have contributed that meaningfully to. An entity from which you can also draw, something you can share, so that you feel pride when that we does something well, and indeed some shame if it does something badly. But yes, everywhere in Europe, everywhere in the world, the reassertion of the we of the nation state is one of the most remarkable things going on as we speak.
We will make America great again.